and we don't have to make it easy for other people.
Thank you, everybody, for being here for our full council meeting. The November 19, 2018 full city council meeting will come to order. It's 2:05 p.m. I'm Bruce Harrell, President of the Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Gonzalez.
Yes, I'm here.
Herbold.
Here.
Johnson.
I'm also here.
Juarez.
Here.
Mosqueda.
Here.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Here.
Bagshaw.
Here.
President Harrell.
Here.
9 present.
Thank you very much. If there's no objection, the introduction and referral calendar will be adopted. Hearing no objections, the introduction and referral calendar is adopted. If there's no objection, today's agenda will be adopted. Hearing no objections, today's agenda is adopted. The minutes of the November 5th, 2018 City Council meeting have been reviewed, and if there's no objection, the minutes will be signed. Hearing no objection, the minutes are being signed. Presentations, I'm not aware of any presentations this afternoon. So at this time, we'll take public comment. And we'll take public comment on an item that appears on our agenda for today, or our introduction referral calendar, or our 2018 work program. We'll extend it for 20 minutes, and speakers will be limited to 2 minutes, and I'll call you out in the order with which you've signed up here. So please come to the microphone. Shelley Cohen, you are first. Shelley Cohen will be followed by John Perkins. And then Megan Murphy will be third.
Thank you. I'm Shelley Cohen, school crossing guard at Wedgwood Elementary School in Seattle. Real Change vendor, advocate, and board member. I'm really here today on behalf of the 1,784 students and their families that need stable housing. I submitted the list at one of the other meetings. You can see what schools they are, what districts they're in. Please move as much funds as you possibly can to get those families and children housed. That's where it begins, with the students. You've also got to eliminate the NIMBYism, not in my backyard situation. You've got to put them someplace. Maybe you can put them, like in San Francisco, in the schools. They're starting to do that now. Find a place, find the money. And thank you for moving some of the funds. I appreciate that. You need to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. John will be followed by Megan Murphy and then Jonathan Cooner.
Hello, Council. My name's John Perkins. You know why I'm here. I'm speaking to the mutual and offsetting benefits lease agreements. I keep coming back because this is a new video clip. It's also a new committee, though you all look remarkably similar to the Select Budget Committee. I want to applaud actually the Select Budget Committee and Chairman Bagshaw. I think he did just an amazingly job, and the staff, just all the moving pieces, and it was like trying to organize bits of snow. I just want to remind the public that are watching, and the committee and the executive and their departments, that the original funding for this began with Referendum 29 in 1972. This particular referendum raised $25 million, which was a third of the $75 million that was brought through in that initiative year. And this particular one says that the state and its communities are moving toward more effective programs to treat our elderly. This is true. 2 of the agreements in the MOB are senior centers, disabled, retarded, and other citizens requiring help. That would bring in Bird Bar, though one of these properties is not necessarily Referendum 29. And then later in 2006, the legislature considered this again, and they said, yes, we continue to want these values expressed in these properties that were brought with public money by the state citizens, not Seattle citizens. So the money was purchased with state money. And if you were able to continue that purpose, please do so. Give it to the nonprofit. That particular nonprofit can accept it without further consideration. And again, I'll repeat, my lay interpretation of that, and, my grandfather was a lawyer, but I'm not, is that you don't have to charge anything. It's not a gift. 2006, the legislature clarified, don't consider this a gift. This is excellent public policy. Please do it. Please pass this budget and help the executive get this done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Following Megan Murphy is Jonathan.
Thanks for letting me speak. I hope that this budget is different than Mayor Durkin's, because I just got the latest edition of Real Change, and her budget, the city council's ears are closer to the ground and to the people of Seattle, everyday people, and her interest seems to be more separate from the everyday needs. So I know she was against the tax on big business, and I appreciate Sawant trying to get the $47 million that could have been raised. I know we talked about even over $100 million at one point. We set our goals high because when we get together here at City Hall, we talk about things openly, very transparent. Everything's projected on a screen, and we work together for housing. And if anything were to be invested in that kind of democracy, this is the gold standard for investing in where the jobs are going, how the houses are being built, because anybody from the public can come up here and nobody's barred. It's not in a back room behind our eyes, and it doesn't have anything to do with dispersing weapons or unequal pay, or it's just, I love this process. So this is such a great process, and I'm so glad Seattle has, it's almost like a yearly celebration, but let's make it even more like a celebration with more money for housing and addressing the real issues, because they're not going to go away. In fact, they're even going to get worse if we don't take them on. So, so I'm glad. Sometimes I'm a little floored at how gutsy some of the council members are, and I'm relieved that they're addressing the bullies because nobody else will for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. And our last speaker will be Jonathan.
Hi, Council. This summer, I came by and I was able to share a little bit about this pilot we had started with 500 unsheltered individuals and a digital wallet we had provided to them called Samaritan. Since then, the Salvation Army, Compass Housing, and in particular, the City Hall emergency shelters have requested that we increase how many wallets we have been able to provide to people who are without a home. I've met with Councilwoman Mosqueda, Bagshaw, and then Council President Harrell about this and submitted a budget. I was actually just wondering, in terms of a Q1 or Q2 2019 deployment, it doesn't look like we'll be able to get it in time for December, but if there was an update from the council about the expanded budget to be able to provide these resources to the shelters to pass down to people without a home. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's a format for you to be able to respond to that, but.
What was your question again? I'm sorry, I was multitasking.
Yeah,
Jonathan.
no worries, no worries.
Was your question, how can you get your technology that helps the homeless in front of the council? Was that your question?
Yeah, we had submitted a budget in the last 2 months, and it would fulfill the needs that the Salvation Army, Compass Housing, and the emergency shelters have requested to provide these wallets to people who are without a home. I wanted to maybe just ask for an update about if that had come across your guys' radar, and if there was just an update, I guess, basically on if that would fit into the budget to provide those. So
I would suggest that, go ahead and stop the clock, so just Jonathan and I are befriended one another. My staff will contact you. Are you going to stick around for the whole budget? If not, my staff will contact you. And I like to actually, as I explained to you earlier, I like to display your technology at committee on a real-time basis. We might be able to do that in December, but I can certainly, if not December, January, because we're on break for 2 weeks in December. So at least by January, let's do an open display of your technology. Perhaps some people that have benefited from it, because I know it's good technology, can testify as to what it brings about, and then we'll have the information technology folks there as well, so they may have some questions that I don't have, and love to take a look at it. Thanks for your work on this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was our last signed up speaker. Is there anyone else that did not have the opportunity to sign up and would like to give testimony this afternoon? If not, we will close that section of public comment. Thank you for coming out, and go to the payment of the bills section, so please read the title.
Council Bill 119409, appropriating money to pay certain claims and ordering the payment thereof.
Okay, I'll pass Council Bill 119409. Second. It's been moved and seconded that the bill pass. Are there any further comments? Please call the roll on the passage of the bill.
Gonzalez. Aye. Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw. President Harrell.
Aye.
8 in favor.
Bill passes, and the chair will sign it. Just one moment.
Do we need to filibuster or?
So, no, we're okay. So the way I think we'll go about this is we're going to move into the select budget committee items. Some of this is perfunctory. There may be council members that may want to speak on certain items, but we're going to sort of read them in groups. We'll vote on them individually. And as memory serves, I think item 34 is really the totality of the budget, where we can reserve comments toward that. The items after 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38 are more perfunctory in nature because they involve some technical revisions and making sure our capital improvement program is passed. But if my notes are correct, that I'm assuming sort of 34 is the main budget passage. And so and I'm just sort of cueing you all as to sort of how the sequence may work. So we're going to read, for example, 1 and 2, and on all these read the short title just for efficiency's sake. And then again, if I'll recognize folks and sort of turn to my colleague, the budget chair, if statements need to be made. But if it's perfunctory, we'll sort of flag that, and many of these items are. Okay, so read items 1 and 2, the short titles, and then we'll vote on each one.
The report of the Select Budget Committee. Agenda Item 1, Council Bill 119390, authorizing in 2018 acceptance of funding from non-city sources. Agenda Item 2, Council Bill 119391, amending Ordinance 125439, which amended the 2018 budget, including the 2018 through 2023 capital improvement program.
Okay.
Committee recommends that these bills pass as amended.
Okay, so we're going to vote on these individually. Councilmember Bagshaw, I'll keep turning to you for these items. And so,
No, I have nothing particularly to add till we get to item 34.
okay. So any questions on Council Bill 1, which is simply the acceptance of the funding from non-city sources? Okay, please call the roll on the passage of the bill.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and chair will sign it. Any comments on agenda item number 2? Just amends the CIP. Please call the roll on the passage of the bill.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda. O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed, chair will sign it. Please read items 3 and 4.
Agenda items 3 and 4. Clerk file 314406, 2019 through 2020 proposed budget. The committee recommends the file be placed on file. Clerk file 314407, 2019 through 2024 proposed capital improvement program. The committee recommends the file be placed on file.
Councilman Bagshaw, would you like to say any words on these?
I have nothing more to add than what we said this morning. Thank you.
So these are just a technical filing of the files, if you will. Those in favor of filing the clerk file 314406, please vote aye.
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 Those opposed vote no. The clerk file is filed. And those in favor of filing clerk file 314407, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The clerk file is approved and filed. Please read items 5 through 8.
Agenda items 5 through 8. Council Bill 119381 relating to the Seattle Center parking charges. Committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119382 relating to Seattle Center Department modifying the Seattle Center fee range schedule. Committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119385 relating to fees charged by the Seattle Animal Shelter. The committee recommends the bill pass as amended. Council Bill 119384 relating to regulatory businesses and professional license fees. Committee recommends the bill pass.
Okay, we have 5 through 8. I think you see the synopsis that you've all worked on. Are there any need to say anything about any of these bills? We're all good? Okay, on number 5, please call the roll in the passage of Council Bill 119381.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
And just for the viewing public, many of these bills that we will pass, all that exceed 30, they're individual actions taken that I'm assuming many council members will speak to toward the end of the budget process as opposed to individually. Many of them worked on several pieces of the legislation that are embedded in this, and so I anticipate that words will be shared with you all, and feelings, hopefully, when we get to that end. So this is just sort of the perfunctory part. So please call the roll on Council Bill 119382.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and Chair will sign it. Please call the roll on Council Bill 119385.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant. Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passes and Chair will sign it. And please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119384.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and Chair will sign it. So let's go with 9 through 13. Please read 9 through 13 into the record.
Agenda items 9 through 13, Council Bill 119386, relating to fees and charges for permits and activities of the Seattle Department of Construction and Inspections. Committee recommends the bill pass as amended. Council Bill 119387, relating to rental registration and inspection ordinance programs. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119388, relating to street and sidewalk use. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119389, relating to building and construction code, subtitle 6. Committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119383, relating to Department of Parks and Recreation, establishing the 2019 through 2020 fee schedule. Committee recommends the bill pass.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take these one at a time. Are there any comments on Council Bill 119386? Councilmember Bagshaw or anyone else? We're good? Please call the roll on Council Bill 119386.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and Chair will sign it. Please call the roll on Council Bill 119387.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passes and the Chair will sign it. Please call the roll on Council Bill 119388.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passed and Chair will sign it. Please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119389.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold. Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw. President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you very much. And please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119383.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant. Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passes and the Chair will sign it. Please read agenda items 14 through 18. Short titles.
Agenda items 14 through 18, Council Bill 119349, relating to City Light Department. Committee recommends the bill pass as amended. Council Bill 119350, relating to City Light Department, amending Section 21.49.086 of the Seattle Municipal Code. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119394, relating to the electric system of the City of Seattle. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119395, relating to the drainage and wastewater system of the City of Seattle. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119396, relating to the municipal water system of the City of Seattle. The committee recommends the bill pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any comments on any items 14 through 18? Otherwise, I'm going to proceed to read them. Please call the roll on Council Bill 119349.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold. Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and the chair will sign it. Please read the roll call on Council Bill 119350.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and the chair will sign it. Please read the roll call on Council Bill 119394.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none
The
none
bill
opposed.
passed and the chair will sign it. Please read the roll call on Council Bill 119395.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and the chair will sign it. And please read the roll call on Council Bill 119396.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold. Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and the chair will sign it. Please read agenda items 19 through 23 into the record as short titles.
Agenda items 19 through 23, Council Bill 119397, relating to the municipal water system of the City of Seattle. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119393, relating to contracting indebtedness. Committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119380, relating to the financing of the Seattle streetcar operations. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119379, relating to the financing of the Seattle Center's operations. The committee recommends the bill pass. Resolution 31847, relating to financial policies for the Judgment/Claims Fund. The committee recommends that the resolution be adopted as amended.
Thank you. Please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119397.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and the chair will sign it. Please call the roll on passage of Council Bill 119393.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and the chair will sign it. Please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119380.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passed and the chair will sign it. Please call the roll call on Council Bill 119379.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold. Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passed and chair will sign it. Please call, this is a resolution on number 23. All those in favor, any comments on the resolution? All those in favor of adopting the resolution, please vote aye. Aye. Those opposed vote no. The motion carries and resolution is adopted and the chair will sign it. And let's go to items 24 through 29.
Agenda items 24 through 29, Resolution 31848, adopting revised financial policies for the cumulative reserve subfund of the general fund. The committee recommends the resolution be adopted. Council Bill 119376, relating to the taxation of sweetened beverages. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119406, relating to the School Safety, Traffic, and Pedestrian Improvement Fund. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119405, relating to business licenses, tax certifications, and business licenses. The committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119378, relating to the Neighborhood Matching Fund Program. The committee recommends the bill pass. And Council Bill 119375, relating to the Department of Parks and Recreation. The committee recommends the bill pass.
Thank you very much. We'll take these one at a time. We have the resolution revising our financial policies on the subfund. Any comments on that? Those in favor of adopting the resolution, please vote aye. Aye. Those opposed, vote no. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted, and the chair will sign it. Next is the Council Bill 119376. Any comments on that Council Bill? Please call the roll on the passage of the bill.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passes, and the chair will sign it. Please call the roll call on the passage of Council Bill 119406.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda. O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passes, and the chair will sign it. Please read the roll on Council Bill 119405.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passed, and the chair will sign it. Please call the roll on Council Bill 119378.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passed, and chair will sign it. And please read the roll call on the passage of Council Bill 119375.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Bill passes, and the chair will sign it. Let's take the resolution 30 by itself, so go ahead and read that into the record.
Agenda item 30, Resolution 31856, committing to collaborate with the executive on the transfer of properties that have a mutual and offsetting benefit lease to the organizations currently residing in those facilities no later than March 2019. The committee recommends the resolution be adopted as amended.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the public comment on this issue. Any comments on this resolution? If not, those in favor of adopting the resolution, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, vote no. The motion carries, and the resolution is adopted, and the chair will sign it. Please read agenda item number 31 into the record.
Agenda item 31, Council Bill 119407, relating to monitoring and inspecting vacant buildings for compliance with the requirements of the Housing and Building Maintenance Code. The committee recommends the bill pass as amended with a divided report with council members Harrell, Herbold, Juarez, Mosqueda, O'Brien, and Sawant in favor, and council members Bagshaw, Gonzalez, and Johnson opposed.
Thank you very much. Any comments on this council bill? Councilmember Johnson, you have the floor.
We're on quite a roll, so I won't belabor the point and just say I'm planning to vote the same way I voted this morning, which is in opposition. And we've got a good roll. So if anybody wants to know why I'm voting no, you can go back to the 10:30 meeting and check out the tape.
Thank you for that. Any further comments on this council bill before we take the roll? Okay, here we go. Please call the roll on Council Bill 119407.
Gonzalez.
No.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Nope.
Juarez.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Nay.
President Harrell.
Aye.
6 in favor, 3 opposed.
bill passes and the chair will sign it. Let's go to let's read items 32 and 33 into this one.
Agenda items 32 and 33, Council Bill 119401, conditioning the Seattle Department of Transportation's 2019 grant applications. Committee recommends the bill pass. Resolution 31853, establishing enhanced reporting requirements for the city's capital improvement program projects. The committee recommends that the resolution be adopted.
Okay, any comments on Council Bill 119401? Okay, please call the roll on the pass of the bill.
Gonzalez. Aye. Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson. Aye. Juarez. Aye. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passed and chair will sign it. Any comments on Resolution 31853? Those in favor of adopting the resolution, please vote aye. Aye. Those opposed, vote no. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted and the chair will sign it. Please read agenda item number 34 into the record.
Agenda item 34, Council Bill 119392, adopting a budget including a capital improvement program and position modifications for the City of Seattle for 2019 and creating positions exempt from civil service, all by 2/3 vote of the City Council. The committee recommends that the bill passes amended with a divided report with Council members Bagshaw, Gonzalez, Harrell, Herbold, Johnson, Juarez, Mosqueda, and O'Brien in favor, and Council member Sawant opposed.
Just from the clerk's perspective, I might have sort of misdescribed sort of the numbers earlier because we have several budget items after 34. So should we treat 38 as the final approval of the budget? I think that may make sense. This is actually the CIP piece of it. So if everyone is, I'll let.
Sorry, could you explain
sorry.
it again?
So 34 is, okay. Okay, so I did accurately describe it. So let's treat this as the final budget action for 2019, not the endorsed for 2020. So this one here is where we will have to suspend the rules. I'll suspend the council rule relating to the circulation of a city council amendment, which requires 2 hours before the meeting to allow the council to consider 2 amendments. That would be Council Bill 119392 and Resolution 31849, which are forthcoming. And would I need to vote on that as well, or is that just within my discretion? If there's no objection, we'll suspend those rules to allow those amendments. Hearing no objection, seeing no objection, consider rules, the council rule relating to the circulation suspended.
Good.
Also,
Council President, I have a
you
motion
have you want to make an amendment?
Sure.
You got it.
I want to move to amend Council Bill 119392 by substituting version 3 for version 2 of attachment A and by substituting version 3 for version 2 of attachment B.
Second.
Okay. And just for the viewing audience, these were the changes that were recently made in open session and debated, and so we want to make sure that our record is clear. Any comments on the amendment? Those in favor of the amendment as described by Councilmember Bagshaw, please vote aye. Aye. Those opposed, vote no. And those substitutions are made. We'll wait till we get to 35 before we do that one. Will be amendment there as well. Okay, so there you have it. So any comments on Council Bill 119392? I'm sure we will have a few if I just do that awkward pause I sometimes do. But I'll do that after comments. Okay. I will move to pass Council Bill 119392 as amended.
Second.
Okay, now we have some comments.
We're like on a roll
I'll do
now.
like we did in law school. I'll start calling on you in a minute here. Okay. Okay, please call the roll on the.
It's almost the same.
I know we know we'd
Obviously, but I would like
we know we'd
to
like
not
that and
be
clean
the
up.
first
So
one
I'll.
to speak.
That's, okay, but I think everyone's relinquishing forward to you, Councilmember Sawant. So you may have to go.
Okay.
So.
Friends and fellow activists, this agenda item and the next agenda item, which is tied to it, are the approval of the city budget as a whole. Just like in previous years, I intend to vote no on the budget Even more so than in previous years, this year's budget is an austerity budget, a budget based on the interests of big business, which makes further cuts to the needs of working people and the services they rely on. Every year since I first took office in 2014, we have built a people's budget movement to fight for progressive changes to Seattle's business as usual budget. And every year, our movement wins important victories that make a real material difference in the lives of regular people. On November 7th this year, we held an inspiring People's Budget Town Hall on affordable housing at the Yesler Community Center, and I want to thank the activists and the organizations, including labor unions, that made that such a powerful event, and I've had the courage to fight back against this austerity budget. As a representative of working people, it is my job to talk openly about the realities and challenges and setbacks we face, our movement faces, and to not prettify things. We have to be clear about what is happening in the movement for affordable housing. Last summer, when Amazon issued its threats and big business fought back against having to pay even the modest tax, the Amazon tax, the majority of the council marched in step behind the chamber's drum and betrayed working people by repealing the Amazon tax in a quintessential backroom deal. They robbed the movement in Seattle of the right to fight it out at the ballot box, to answer big business lies by going to the doors of working people around the city. Fortunately, in several other cities around the country, the torch of taxing big business to address the growing national affordable housing crisis was carried forward, inspired in part by the Tax Amazon movement here in Seattle. In California, San Francisco, East Palo Alto, and Mountain View all put big business taxes on the ballot, and in some cases far bigger ones than we had in Seattle, and in every city they passed by large margins. Here in Seattle, I promise you, we will continue to fight to tax Amazon and big business to fund housing for working people. Our People's Budget movement won important victories this year, thanks to our collective organizing. It is important to recognize these victories of social movements, even though they are less than what is needed, because they underscore an essential message that when we organize and fight back, we can win. The LGBTQ community did fantastic organizing and won funding for LGBTQ senior services to backfill the trans services funding unacceptably cut by the mayor, and funding for an LGBTQ health and wellness center at Nova High School. The People's Budget movement's activism made sure that the residents of Share and Wheel shelters can continue to keep their shelters open this year despite the ongoing attempts of the establishment to shut it down, and I don't think we've seen the end of it. This is the second year in a row that the mayor tried to close their doors, driving them to the streets, and this is the second year that they have organized and that we have won. We successfully won the first ever city-funded eviction defense attorney to help Seattle residents facing evictions to defend their rights. This is an important precedent, and we will be back to fight for more attorneys so that in the ongoing assault against tenant rights with rampant evictions in this city, working people have access to legal help. We need to fund the right to counsel so no one is expected to go to eviction court unprepared. And we will be pushing next year to overhaul the predatory tenant eviction system. Renters have far more rights in eviction court in other cities and states, and that needs to change here in Seattle. The Indigenous community finally won stable funding for the annual Indigenous Peoples Day celebration. Our movement has fought for this every year since we first forced the establishment to end Columbus Day and create Indigenous Peoples Day in 2014. And this time we have won the funding. And our movement won funding for many other things that will make a real difference in people's lives. We also won what are called statements of legislative intent to continue to push forward the process of creating a public bank in Seattle and to demand progress from the mayor in choosing a location for a safe consumption site. But while all these victories by our movement were important, on the burning crisis of affordable housing facing working people, the establishment was completely unwilling to match its flowery rhetoric with action. When she delivered her State of the City address in February, Mayor Durkan said, quote, "Our first priority, though, must be to build a more affordable Seattle. Number one, we have to build more low-income and middle-class housing as quickly as we can," end quote. But the reality is, those words are a lie. Building, quote, more low-income and middle-class housing, unquote, was not the mayor's #1 priority. It was not her #2 priority, or even her #100 priority. It was less than 1% of the budget that she proposed for affordable housing, and that included only funds that legally could go nowhere else. Not one new dollar was proposed for affordable housing by Mayor Austerity Durkin. And we have to be honest, the majority of the council has also completely failed to do anything substantially different. The People's Budget Movement put forward 11 different options to fund building more affordable housing and made it clear that we would support other ideas also. The majority of the council voted down all of them while proposing no alternatives. The majority of the council voted against funding affordable housing again and again and again. They would not authorize a bond for affordable housing. They used bonds again and again to benefit big business-approved projects. In addition to the billions of state funds to dig the tunnel, they are investing hundreds of millions of city funds to build the waterfront, to make millions for the big developers, and increase property values of super wealthy people downtown. But they will not bond for housing. They refuse to bring back the Amazon tax. This is not surprising, but neither did they put forward any alternative ways to tax big business or the rich in this increasingly unequal city. In this state, which has the most regressive tax system in the nation, where the burden of taxes falls overwhelmingly on working people instead of on the richest man in the world and his billionaire friends. They would not fund affordable housing with revenue from not opening a new big business tax loophole for big pharma's drug research. They prioritize spending $1 million on studying how to create new downtown street tolls, which are yet another regressive tax, instead of using that money for affordable housing. They funded sweeping homeless encampments from one corner to another rather than using those funds to build affordable housing. In fact, we have now heard most council members extol the virtues of the euphemistically named navigation team with zero evidence. After hundreds of sweeps last year and hundreds every year before that, the city has failed to provide evidence of even 1% transition to permanent housing by the navigation team. They measure every other homeless service based on transitions to permanent housing. Even hygiene services, which are only meant to provide shower, bathroom, and laundry services to homeless people so that they have a lifeline to be able to get to their jobs, are asked to track their transitions to permanent housing. But the sweeps, which are 100% about moving people, are never asked where do people actually go and how many get permanent housing. Council members talk about data, and in the same breath, they support the sweeps with zero data. Council members talk about race and social justice initiative, which is based on asking affected communities what is needed, but then they ignore what we have never heard one single homeless person say, which is that the navigation team actually helped them get permanent housing. In my committee, we have heard testimony from someone who has been swept 8 times. It has been such a cruel and ineffective waste of money, but council members would not support using these funds for affordable housing instead, which is the real solution to homelessness. We proposed funding affordable housing by collecting the costs of staffing special events. Council members voted no. Council members voted against redirecting funds to affordable housing instead of prioritizing new computers in police cars. Council members voted against capping city executive salaries or reducing the number of city executives or slowing police hiring to fund affordable housing. Council members voted against reducing their own salaries to the area median income of $70,200 in order to fund some affordable housing. In fact, when there was money left over from the balancing during the Budget Committee meeting last Wednesday, council members voted against using that extra money for affordable housing. Budget Chair Bagshaw said that at that time that she suspected, quote unquote, there would be another need for that funding, and so she couldn't support using it for affordable housing. In other words, this political establishment has spent interminable hours talking about affordable housing, but those words could not be more empty. This budget increases the police budget by over $70 million, but it cannot find $1 more for affordable housing. We need to be crystal clear. The housing crisis in Seattle is not because of a lack of ideas or creativity. This crisis is purely a result of a lack of political will to stand up against Amazon and big business. The political establishment has made it clear. Working class people are not welcome in Seattle. If you are Amazon, if you are downtown real estate interests, Seattle will give you whatever investment you want, paid for with the ever-increasing regressive property and sales taxes on working people. But if you're a hardworking Seattleite struggling to pay rent, they're happy to push you out of your home, your neighborhood, and possibly out of the city. Remember, not only has homelessness continued to rise, but for working renters that are housed, almost half are rent burdened, who are making ever greater sacrifices in other aspects of their lives to be able to stay housed. So like in previous years, our People's Budget movement won important victories, but big business interests continue to dominate the large swaths of the city budget. What we are able to win depends entirely on the strength of our movements. That is why this same council voted against the Amazon tax first, then in favor of it, then repealed it, all in the course of a few months. Their votes were not based on facts or evidence or data. Their votes were certainly not based on principles. They were being pushed by the balance of power in society between big business and the affordable housing movement. When the movement has a greater balance of power, then we will see the right votes. The way we'll push them back again is by building our movement. 50 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. said, quote, "If our nation can spend $35 billion a year to fight an unjust, evil war in Vietnam and $20 billion to put a man on the moon, it can spend billions of dollars to put God's children on their 2 feet right here on earth," end quote. His words from 1967 are, if anything, more meaningful today in a city where a single billionaire is financing his own spaceships while thousands of people have been driven into homelessness, have overflowed their shelters, and are living on the streets. We did not win a people's budget today, but we are building the sort of movement that can win one in the future, and I am proud and honored to be part of that movement. This movement is not limited to Seattle either. It is building in other cities also, including in Queens, New York, where working people are right now protesting in their outrage at the sweetheart deals given to Jeff Bezos, while New York housing and its transportation infrastructure are in crisis. I also want to thank Central Staff Director Kirsten Arrested and her staff, Greg Doss, Dan Eder, Patricia Lee, Ali Pinucci, Asha Venkatraman, Lisa Kay, Tracy Ratzliff, Alan Lee, Eric Sun, Brian Goodnight, Jeff Sims, and Calvin Chow, who all were directly instrumental in helping my office prepare the budget amendments. Particularly, I want to thank them for putting together the 11 different amendments with 11 different ways to fund affordable housing, which can seem like a thankless task, particularly when the majority of the council rejects all of them. However, I want Central Staff to know your work has given hundreds of regular people throughout Seattle a concrete solution to the affordable housing crisis to fight for, and to also show that it is not this or that technicality that the Democratic establishment objects to. It is the very idea of standing up against big business by taking action on the housing crisis. And we have seen that while we have won some things today, even the budget amendments we lose are a starting point for people to organize to win changes in the future, like happened with the Amazon tax last budget. So thank you all again for everything you do. Let's keep building this movement. Thanks to all the hundreds of working people who came together this year to fight for a people's budget. You have collectively, yet again, set an example for working people around the country, fighting for an alternative to austerity, inequality, and the bankruptcy of corporate politics. I will vote no on this austerity budget today.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Sawant. Councilmember Bagshaw, as chair, would you like to say a few words?
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you again, all of you, for being here. I want to talk a little bit about the budget that we balanced. It's taken us a couple of months to get here, but it reflects our collective commitment to invest in areas that we believe need our attention most. And we did this with revenues that we have in hand, those that were estimated to come in, and our balanced budget is focused on making our city a safer and more welcoming place for everybody who is in Seattle. And while we've taken many steps to accomplish these goals, what we all know is that we're going to have sustained efforts in 2019 to implement what we're doing and to really look at the regional housing that we've been talking about. So when I started off with this budget, I identified what available revenue sources we had so that we didn't overcommit or that we didn't expend money in areas where we couldn't continue next year and into 2020. I really wanted to focus on an action-oriented budget as well, which meant I didn't want us to be spending money on more plans. If we'd already been planning, let's build on what we already know and get some things done. We identified individual council members' top requests and their values, and I did what I could to make sure that people were able to get and to put in for their own districts or their own most important items the money that they needed to accomplish their goals. And also, I wanted to prioritize, and we did, the kind of coordinated investments that we can make with King County and with our other counties going forward. So I've got a number of thank yous that I want to make, but I do want to just express that through this budget, we have managed to expand services for our most vulnerable populations. Things like treatment on demand and services to address substance abuse disorders. Many of you have heard me talk over the years about wanting to have expanded buprenorphine systems, places where people could get methadone. We have organizations like Evergreen Treatment that will now have more money and resources and more capital money. We're also going to be reforming our criminal and legal system, and I want to express my thanks first to Councilmember Gonzalez, who's been my vice chair throughout this, but working with her over the next year, there are going to be a lot of things that we can do where we're coordinating with our municipal courts, with our city attorney, with our prosecuting attorneys, with our defenders. There is much that we already know, but the coordinated effort is something that's going to not only save us money, keep more people out of jail, and make sure that we are providing to individuals the services and the help that they need. I also want to extend my thanks for the help in improving some of the systems that we have identified. Specifically, one of my top goals this year, which we have managed to accomplish, is to create a low acuity response team. And this was something that we modeled off other cities. Colorado Springs, Mesa, Arizona, for example, have what they call a care program. What we're going to be doing is responding and helping our first responders to people who are chronically ill, those people who are oftentimes on our streets, or we're calling, or the people are calling on their behalf over and over again, whether they have behavioral health or mental health problems or chronic illnesses. Rather than sending out multiple ladder trucks, multiple ambulances, we can have a system set up to ensure coordinated and effective responses that where our first responders with behavioral and mental health folks can arrive in something less than ladder trucks, but with the supplies that they need to be helpful. I also want to acknowledge that we have increased funding for mental health outreach, our expanded treatment for individuals with substance use disorders. We made whole the navigation team. I want to say thank you right in advance, Councilmember Mosqueda, for working with me on that. We have made sure that the 217 beds were protected, the additional beds for emergency shelter. From the beginning, we agreed that that was not going to be cut. And we have some additional day center work, and I want to acknowledge that we have additional services that will help Native American and Alaska Native women. More on that in a moment. Also, we have made some great capital improvements and neighborhood investments, such as in South Park that Councilmember Herbold had brought up. And again, something I'm excited about for 2019 is a child care facility. We put $100,000 into the budget to make sure we've got a child care center here at City Hall that will be dedicated first for our city employees and open to the public if there's spaces left. I'm anxious in 2019 to make sure that that happens. I also want to say thank you to my Parks Department, Christopher Williams and crew who are here. Thanks for your good help around the Yesler Crescent, the help that we have for some additional capital money to really make some effective safety, health, and just really public vitality improvements between City Hall and the courthouse next door and then towards Pioneer Square. And really, before I get into individual thank yous, I want to acknowledge what I really believe is that we've made some important investment here that are going to improve people's lives, but in no way do we have the ample resources that we need to make that big jump, in part what Councilmember Sawant just talked about. I believe that we need to make significant investments in our regional programs as well, that the city taxpayers cannot do it all by ourselves, but we need to coordinate with the county and with our other cities within King County. Mayor Durkin has already gotten this started. A number of our council colleagues, including Councilmember Johnson here, Councilmember Claudia Balducci across the street, have been working on this. 2019 will be a year, I believe, where we're going to make some big progress. So to Mayor Durkin and her departments, I really want to acknowledge that we took their budgets and built on that, and just extending my thanks to all the departments that continue to work with us, and once again acknowledging the good work that our Council Central staff had. The clerks, thank you to Amelia, Jody, Linda, for your constancy and your help and your creating scripts that would help me get through substituting motions once again. And then I just have some very direct personal thanks to my colleagues up here. And just starting from my left at the end, Councilmember Juarez, always the advocate for D5. Thank you for the good work that you did in bringing money forward for the food banks and the additional shelter. Mother Nation, God's Little Acre, Aurora Commons, they'd never seen the kind of help that you brought to them this year. So thank you for that. The Lake City Community Center, I know, is thrilled that that is going to be a place that will be really extended and expanded. So thank you for that. Councilmember Mosqueda, since I'm just going to stay coming down the row here, your 2% increase across the board for our human services providers, thank you for taking the lead on that. It was wonderful today to be with you as you were bringing some workers forward and just telling what a difference that's going to make in their lives. Small, but mighty and symbolic. And I also want to thank you for working with me on the idea of getting a child care center here in City Hall. And one thing I just have to say, Councilmember Mosqueda, that I appreciate about you so much is just the amazing good cheer you bring every day to this dais. I'm very thankful to be a colleague working on these things with you, and just the ways you seek compromises. It means a great deal to me. So thank you so much for that. Councilmember Sawant, I want to thank you for working on the basic shelter, the 217 beds, something that you and I agreed on from the very beginning. I appreciated your advocacy for the eviction attorney and, of course, getting some stable money for the Indigenous Peoples Day. So thank you for that. Councilmember O'Brien, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for working on the green jobs, for expanding LEAD, for expanding the evergreen treatment hours that we know are so important. The work that you did on the Equitable Development Initiative, and frankly recognizing the importance of our Office of Sustainability and Environment Climate Director. So, you led those charges, and I thank you for that. Council President Harrell, sitting right next to you, thank you for helping me through all this, but for your investments in historic Seattle and Northwest African American Museum. Of course, you did a lot around our community outreach, but also the money that you were able to add at the last minute around the Central Area Community PDA so that we can get more affordable housing in that area and apprenticeship programs. Councilmember Gonzalez, it's just been a rare pleasure working with you. Thank you for your help, helping me through as my vice chair on this. I think it was a very effective process having you there, helping and focusing and reminding us about the needs of many communities that you're very close to. So I appreciate that. And what you did with helping us get defense services for sexual assault survivors and immigrant and refugees, the LGBTQ senior community services, it's all going to make a difference. Councilmember Johnson, you've done a lot for your district around Magnuson Athletic Fields, getting those advanced in the CIP and the Magnuson Community Center hours open, more investments in our community health engagement locations, as well as increasing dollars for food delivery services, and some very important, small but very important visual things such as your suicide prevention signs on the bridges. That was something that hadn't been brought up before. Thank you for that. And Councilmember Herbold, our D1 advocate, I'm very grateful to you for all of the things that you brought forward, whether it was a South Park Public Safety Coordinator or increasing the pool hours in your community and getting additional funds for your school. But you've done a lot around making sure that 35th is paved, And you really brought home many of the things that I know the people in your community have needed. So I just want to recognize you and recognize you all for being super colleagues. And I know that there's been some stressful moments, but I appreciate the fact that everybody's worked together to reach that compromise. And again, thanks to all of you in the community who've been willing to come forward, provide your comments, your thoughts. Jonathan, thank you for wearing the walk with, not by sweatshirt. I appreciate what you're doing as well. So to all of you, to those of you that are representing Share, that are living in our community, you are always welcome here, and I appreciate so much the words that you brought to us. It helps us.
Thank you, Chair Bagshaw and Councilmember Bagshaw. Councilmember Johnson.
I just want to say a big thank you to you, Councilmember Bagshaw, for helping to get this across the finish line. You stole most of my speech with a little three things that you hit on that I'm proud to have fought for, but in addition, there are many advocates who spend a lot of time and energy at City Hall over the last several months as we debate and advocate for individual priorities within our purviews. And one of those is still hanging out here, and I want to say thank you to her. So for the folks from the Public Defenders Association who fought so hard for the work around community health engagement locations, the additional $100,000 that we put into the budget this year brings our city investment to $1.4 million. When you couple that with the money from the MID coming from the county, we expect that number to be about $3 million. That should be plenty for us to make sure that we site and open a safe consumption site this year, which I think is critical for our city to continue to make sure that we focus on people who are alive, staying alive, and thinking about people as people, because I don't believe that any human being is a lost cause.
Thank you, Councilmember
Johnson. Okay, we have a bill that's been amended. Councilmember Mosqueda, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to start by thanking the Budget Chair, Councilmember Bagshaw. You have welcomed me into this budget-making process and made me feel very welcome. Thank you for working with my team and my office throughout this process to make sure that our proposals could jointly be more successful. I also want to thank your staff member, Allison, as well. She has worked with us to make sure that this budget stayed on track and helped to juggle 9 of our different priorities up here, so I really appreciate her work. Along with central staff, thank you so much for all your work throughout the last few months here. I do want to thank my staff. This was our first time at going through the budget process, so a huge thank you for Sejal for her leadership in helping all of us get through this process. Thank you to Michael, Aretha, and Faride for all your incredible work as well. And we know that today we have made some significant down payments on some really pressing issues in our city. It goes without saying that we have a huge task in front of us, and today we make some inroads into trying to address monumental tasks like taking on homelessness, creating more affordable housing, dealing with mobility needs for transportation throughout our cities. And we're doing this with no new revenue. So what we've been able to do in front of us really is an effort to try to address some of the most critical elements that we see in our city. And what you've heard from us is a commitment to come back and find additional revenue so that we can address these pressing issues with urgency and integrity. And I think that we all understand the significant revenue restraints that are upon us, whether it's through the types of revenue or the limitations on how we can spend that revenue. There's compounding issues also at play at the state level, multiple IMIN initiatives, the fact that this state is the only, it's one of the most prosperous states without an income tax, without a capital gains tax, without a corporate income tax. We have a lot of issues in this whole state and as a region that we must continue to address to make sure that we're really getting at the heart of the regressive nature of our tax structure. In addition to that, though, as we talk about needing additional dollars for housing, you've continued to hear us call for us to more equitably invest in developing housing throughout the city. And outside of the budget, I know myself and Councilmember Johnson and a number of other council members are committed to addressing the fact that 86% of our residential land is still zoned for single-family use when we have such a huge housing crisis, the need for apartments, first-time home ownership options, the need to live near transit facilities and childcare and jobs. We have to address the zoning limitations as well, and that is something that we will continue to address. And as we do, we also, I hope what you've heard from us in this budget is we're lifting up the words of renters. As a renter, we all know it's important for us to remember that over half of the residents in Seattle are renters. And as we create more house options that are affordable, we also have invested in this budget in tenant protections and tenant rights, which I'm really proud of. So I thank my colleagues and the community for making sure that we were able to get some of these investments in there. And I am committed to continuing to work with you all to make sure that we have the funding that we need for housing, addressing the homelessness crisis, investing in health, and making sure that our communities are kept whole. Part of this work, I think, is going to be done in our efforts to look at the reset of Move Seattle so we can address the need for more transit options. Part of this work is going to be done through the Select Committee on Homelessness and Housing Affordability, which I'm happy to co-chair with my colleagues to make sure that we're not just looking again at what the root is, but trying to figure out how we can invest in the solution. And in order to do so, we need revenue. We also know that our interest in scaling up some of these investments is going to require us continuing to lift up your voices again. And much of what you have done in this budget is because you came to testify, you shared your stories, you were here every day over the last 3 months, let alone the last year that I've been here. It's almost been a year. And here's what I am excited to lift up in addition to what Chair Bagsaw mentioned. I just want to highlight a few pieces that I'm really proud about and want to thank you for your leadership in this. Childcare facility in this building, making sure that we're eliminating funding for jail beds that are not being used and continuing to scale down the number of people that are going into incarceration. We're funding a study for looking at air and noise pollution in Beacon Hill, and we're making sure that our zip code does not contribute to our life expectancy and our health outcomes. We're funding a home zone pilot project to calm down traffic. We're investing in the Thomas Street Greenway. We're stopping our efforts we're trying to curb our efforts to contract out so many positions. We are looking at how we can get rid of the tax on tampons. We are trying to create a more equitable tax structure, even though it's one of many issues that we need to take on. We're also addressing the need for us to have a more public health response in our communities, and we're scaling up our communicable disease response with our partners in public health. We're investing in creating an accurate census so that every resident in Seattle can get counted and make sure that every federal dollar follows that resident and that we're not leaving any of our community members behind. We've created a racial equity toolkit so we can analyze our Seattle growth strategy and do proactive work before the next comprehensive plan. And as you heard today, we're investing in the frontline workers, the mental health providers, chemical dependency counselors, those who are helping individuals with case management to keep jobs, find jobs, stay in the schools so that they don't go back out into the streets, so that we can create true housing stability and hopefully one day build the housing so that we can help move people in. I know that this was not everything that we all wanted because we don't have the sufficient revenue that we need, but I know that working together we can continue to make sure that we are addressing these pressing challenges in our city. The pressing challenges that we have are not unique to Seattle, but I think that in the next 6 months to a year, we will come back to you with additional options for helping to invest in our families, our seniors, our children, and our local small businesses. And with that, I thank you, Council President and Madam Chair, for all the work that you put into this year's budget.
Thank you, Councilmember Mosqueda. Councilmember Juarez.
Thank you. I wasn't going to say anything, but I'll be very brief. This is my third budget here in Olympia. I sat through 5 budgets, and it's definitely a different process in the state of Washington. First of all, I just want to really, and I really do mean this, I really want to thank Council Member, our chairperson, Sally Bagshaw, for doing a great process and taking the time to listen and talk and agree and disagree and be okay when we don't agree. I appreciate that. I want to thank Allison. Allison, you were amazing. Thank you again for taking the time to come in our office and talk to us and work through difficult issues. And of course, a big thank you to Director Kirsten Arstead and Central staff and all of the people who help us and do the charts, work late at night, work on weekends, call us on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't think people see what goes on behind the scenes, but I really want to thank them. And most of all, I really, truly want to thank my colleagues, all the people up here. We all work together. We work hard. We don't always agree. We don't always get what we want. I think there's a song about that. But we try to work together with the limited resources that we have. I think every year I'm always awestruck and always still thinking about how we can make our city better. And for 2019, I look forward to a regional response to our most critical issues, and that is sheltering the unsheltered, food scarcity, addressing the opioid addiction, and also addressing missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. I think one thing that I've always known in living in this city is that Seattle is a big city with big city problems. And sometimes I think we don't see it that way, that we aren't this small little town, provincial town anymore. We actually have big city problems which require us to reach out and across the aisle, and certainly to have a regional response to the issues that are affecting all of us. As my Uncle Billy used to say, if a stream is polluted or a watershed is polluted, it isn't Pierce County that just gets sick, or King County or Thurston County. We all get sick. So it's all of our jobs to keep the environment clean, to have jobs, to look at health, to have a safety net for those that don't have what some of us are so lucky to have. And so with that, again, I want to thank my colleagues for all of us working together. And with that, again, thank you, Councilmember, our Chairperson Bagshaw.
Thank you, Councilmember Juarez. Okay, thanks for those words, colleagues. And I think we are ready to vote. So, having said that, please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119392 as amended.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien. Sawant.
No?
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
8 in favor, 1 opposed.
The bill passes and the chair will sign it. And let's go with the resolution. Please read 35 into the record.
Resolution 31849, endorsing a budget and position modifications for the City of Seattle for 2020. The committee recommends the resolution be adopted as amended.
This is an endorsement of 2020. Councilmember Bagshaw, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I just very quickly, I move to amend Resolution 31849 by substituting version 3 for version 2 of attachment A.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we're just making the technical corrections based on the package that was approved by the committee. And anyone want to speak to that? Or are we going to vote? Okay. So we're going to just vote on the amendment first. All those in favor of the amendment as described by Councilmember Bagshaw, please vote aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. So the resolution itself is amended. Are there any comments on the resolution? If not, those in favor of adopting the resolution, please vote aye. Aye. Those opposed vote no.
No?
The motion carries. The resolution is adopted and chair will sign it. Please read clerk file 314408.
Agenda item 36, clerk file 314408, City Council changes to the 2019 through 2020 proposed budget and the 2019 through 2024 proposed capital improvement program. The committee recommends that the file be approved and filed.
Okay, again, this is just a file that we will file. Councilmember Bagshaw, did you want to say anything to it, or are we good?
I think that what has been said over the last 2 months, I will leave in the record and not add to it. But again, thank you to all, and thank you to my able assistant, Allison McLean, back there, for all of your good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Those in favor of filing the clerk file 314408, please vote aye. Aye. Those opposed vote no. The clerk file is filed. Please read agenda items 37 and 38 and the short titles, please.
37 and 38, Council Bill 119370, relating to the levy of property taxes. Committee recommends the bill pass. Council Bill 119371, authorizing the levy of regular property taxes by the City of Seattle for collection in 2019. The committee recommends the bill pass.
Thank you very much. Any comments on either of these council bills, these property tax issues? Okay. Please call the roll on Council Bill 119370.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passes and the chair will sign it. And please call the roll on the passage of Council Bill 119371.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Herbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Juarez. Mosqueda.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Sawant.
Aye.
Bagshaw.
Aye.
President Harrell.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passes, and the chair will sign it. Okay, I think we've gotten through all of our substantive items. Did I deprive anyone of an opportunity to speak during the budget and any other matters? And is there any further business coming for the council? Councilmember Sawant.
Thank you, President Harrell. I asked to be excused from the City Council meeting on Monday, November 26th and Monday, December 3rd.
Second.
What was the last one? I'm sorry, Councilmember Sawant.
November 26th and December 3rd.
December 3rd, got it. Gotcha. Gotcha. It's been moved and seconded that Councilmember Sawant be excused on 11, 26, and 12-3. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. She's excused. Councilmember Gonzalez.
I move to be excused on Monday, December 3rd and Monday, December 10th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Councilmember Gonzalez be excused 12-3 and 12-10. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. She's excused on the 3rd and the 10th. Any other business come for the council? And just a little privilege here. Again, there's been many thanks to the Central staff for all they've done and our own staffs. I just want to globally say thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll go put our Parks Commission hats on in 5 minutes. And with that, we stand adjourned and everyone have a great afternoon.
Good. Well